For the occasion.
All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm loving the glasses.
My afternoon look.
Good afternoon, everyone. So glad to be here on District Digital Day here at SFUSD. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Ricardo Cisneros. I am an education evangelist here with Adobe. And up here, at least on my frame, we have the wonderful...
I'm Lindsay Blass. I work all things education in Adobe and used to work in SFUSD up until a year and a half ago. So very excited to be here at Digital District Day. And we're excited to create with you all today.
So yeah. So what we're going to do is we are going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want to make sure that I can see everything on the Q&A, and let's get a poppin'. So here's what we're going to do is, A down on this side and the chat on this side. All righty. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are, of course, talking about the latest and greatest, of course, Adobe Express. So if you're brand new to the whole Adobe Express, this is the spot where you want to be. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, my name is Martin Cisneros. I am an education evangelist here at Adobe, 28 years in public education. I just finished last year. Started off as a kinder teacher, taught every grade level except first, second, 7th, 10th, and 11th, was a principal, administrator for 4 years. After that, worked at the district office as a coordinator, director of after school projects and curriculum and ed tech, and then worked for the state. Ended up working for 4 different county offices of ed in Silicon Valley, and then ended up as a director of technology for a K-8 school district right before joining over here to Adobe. So that's a little bit about who I am. Ladies and gentlemen, because we're here at SFUSD, we want to make sure you have the right login information. So that is automatically here. And of course, if you want to make sure that you are getting in, I am going to put on the chat the beta login. Yes, that's the beta login. Oh, Lindsay, thank you so much. We have that up here. So I want to make sure that you're up and running. And of course, coming soon, as you see here, it is coming to a Clever near you. So be making sure that you look into that. But for today, just to make sure that you're in the right place, we are going into the new .express.adobe.com, as you see here on the webinar chat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what are we learning today? We're going to learn a lot of really fun and good stuff, right? So we're going to learn how to support our students to create meaningful graphics that connect to your curriculum, create some quick videos that take them deeper into the learning process, and last but not least, to create digital portfolios that help them reflect on the process and the product of learning. So a lot of fun stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to move right along. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is talk a little bit about what is Adobe Express. So if you are brand spanking new to this system, Adobe Express is your all-in-one shop for designing wonderful presentations, images, and animations. So think infographic, think visual reports, think, posters, that type of stuff. Whether you want to start from scratch or you want to start with our many wonderful templates, we have you covered. We also have the ability, of course, to create some captivating videos. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're even going to show you how to make some cartoons and animation into video. So it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And then last but not least is how do we develop professional learning journals, aka attention-grabbing web pages for your students without learning how to code. All this without leaving one screen, which is amazing, and no need to download multiple stuff because the latest and greatest of Adobe Express has you covered. All right. So with that, what is our schedule? Our schedule is to talk about why visible thinking is important, why graphics. We're going to get into playing and doing an Express post. We're going to be remixing a graphic, and then we're also going to be talking about videos and student voice. So this is going to be fun because we're taking that traditional videos into the new and improved Adobe Express, which allows for animations as well. And then, of course, after we finish our videos, we're going to do some animation, and then we're going to wrap it all together into putting this into a learning portfolio, learning how to develop them. And then, of course, what are some different benefits that we can use with them, right? So we're going to create our own as well. And then last steps is how do we continue to keep growing and learning with Adobe? Because like I said before, Adobe is this. We're not just a one and done. So this is just, we have a partnership with SFUSD. So you're going to see myself and my team quite a bit at SFUSD. So we are thrilled to be here, and we can't wait to see what your students produce. So let's get going. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to skip this part because I'm going to, by the way, after learning how to do all this wonderful stuff, the other cool thing that you get to do is the ability to, of course, get your level 1 certification. So we'll be going through that at the very end of today's session. But for now, we're going to be talking about what's about making thinking visible, right? Infographics, posters, and so much more. Because here's what the research says, ladies and gentlemen, right, is that we understand that as humans, our brains, right, our brains are wired to rapidly make sense and remember visual input. The research shows that if we are able to make a graphic out of some really difficult information, we're able to remember not only the information, but the process about 30% more, right? So visualizations in the form of whether it's movies, animation, diagrams, charts, drawings, pictures, can help us understand complex information. So not only viewing it, but also creating it, right? So that's the fun part. So when we talk about creating, we understand that a well-designed visual image can yield much more powerful, memorable learning experience, not only for the students, but for the educators as well. So here are some examples of what we mean, right? So on the left-hand side, we have an elementary view of a prompt where we're going over a story. And this is a popular story that many of us have read or heard in different formats, which is The Three Little Pigs. And in here, the prompt was to create either a book cover or a Netflix cover, right? A streaming video cover about taking the point of view of one of the characters from the Three Little Pig story and creating stories from their point of view. So I love the first top left one that we see here is pigs, 2, 3 homeless, woof, out of breath, from home to rubbish pile in one breath. So I love that, right? So not only do they have their story, they have their subtitle as well. The middle one, I am woof, how a huff and a puff ruined a community. But one of my favorite ones is the one that you see down at the left, right? You can almost tell is that someone in this child's family works for a construction company. Pigs without permits. Wolf protects community from unlawful construction, right? So yeah, so these are amazing. These are amazing. In the middle, of course, we see DNA facts, right? So we're always looking about how our students can represent the information of what they're learning, right? On the right-hand side, you have high school with, of course, talking about misinformation that we get from social media, misinformation that we get from a variety of different places now, and what to deal with it. So I see that we have this correctly. We had a hand raised. So I'm going to go over here. Oh, Mrs. B. I see Mrs. B had, what is your, or did you, okay, I'm going to click allow to talk. So Mrs. B, what do you got for us? You had your hand up. Maybe not.
Mrs. No. They have this session set up as webinar style. I believe you should still be able to message me and Martina as the hosts. Let me know if that is incorrect. But I'll try and answer your questions as best as I can as we go through.
All right.
Looks like Mrs. Natalia's hand is up as well too. I'm not sure.
Okay,
Let me
let's,
try to allow Natalia to talk.
there we
Natalia,
go.
just
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
hello.
Hello. Do you have a question for us?
No, no, not so far.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. All righty.
Oh, and I see Zareen there. Zareen, are they able to direct message us if they have questions during the presentation, or how do we do it with this style?
Yes. Do you want chat on actually?
Let's turn chat on. That would be awesome.
Yes,
Okay,
that
great.
would be great.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Your time
So,
is beautiful.
How do I do that?
and then on the
There it is.
Q&A from Eminem, yes, you can ask questions there on the Q&A. That's fine. We are going to be viewing all panels at all the times as we move forward. So thank you for asking that. All right. So getting back over here. So what we're doing is we're now able to go ahead and you know, figure out different ways in which our students can show us what they know, right? This is amazing. So it is 1:26. I've been talking for too long. So it's time for us to create, ladies and gentlemen. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a link on the chat. So I'm going to put that on the webinar chat for everyone. And this is the participants page. I want you to go in. So first thing is I'm going to rewind back a little bit because I want to make sure that you get into the right product. As you know, we've been talking about, you know, the latest and greatest Adobe Express. So on here on the chat, you have, of course, our beta login. So I want you to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to show you around a little bit before we get to creating. So for those of you who have been with Adobe Express ever since we were called Spark, right? We now have a new iteration. So this is what the new and improved looks like. And what you're going to see here is you're going to see a lot of similarities, but I just want to make sure that at the very top, you look at this ribbon that has education, social media, video, photo, document, and marketing. Right down in the first row, you are going to see a variety of different components, from creating a poster to a video, web page, infographics, presentations, and so on and so on. Not only that, but when you hover over, I want you to see this, right? You can now create from scratch, or you have the ability to browse templates. And that's what we're going to get into right now. So many of you went ahead and got the participants page. So I'm going to show you a few things about the participants page just to make sure. So you start here, you're going to scroll down, and normally we start here with this creative identity graphic, but here's what I found out in setting up for today's session. This link goes to the older version of Adobe Express. So we're going to change this up, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, and in the chat, I am going to put the link to the new teacher graphic template. So I want you to click on that. And when you do, you should automatically get here. So I'm going to wait a few seconds because, number one, to make sure that you are logging into the new Adobe Express. Once again, that login for the Express will be here on the chat as I'm putting it in now. And then, of course, once you log in and you make sure you're logged in, you then can go to the teacher graphic template. I'm going to wait a few seconds to make sure that everybody's capable of doing that. And if you have any questions, we are. Ariel, I'm looking at your question. That is correct. If you do not see an education tab, that means you use a different email. So please, please, please make sure you are using your SFUSD email. Thank you for that question. All righty, folks. At the moment, I'm assuming that now everyone's in. So I'm going to show you around a little bit, right? So we love this graphic. So this is what we call our identity graphic. So up at the top left where you see untitled, this is where you can tell your students to go in and start creating, of course, the name of this project. So in there, I'm going to call this my 2023-24 identity graphic, right? So a few things that you're going to notice between the new Adobe Express versus the previous version is that when you click on on any text, like we're down here at the bottom right where it says "Who is Mina Thomas," I'm going to click on it, and what you're going to see is you're going to see an editor pop up on the left-hand side. But if you double click in there, you're now capable of editing right on that particular component. So I'm going to go ahead and change "Who is Mina Thomas" to "Who is Martin Cisneros." Okay. And as you can see, you can, of course, manipulate this so it can fit whatever size you want. This is the fun part, right? Where you get to play a little bit. So go ahead and change yours to your first name and last name. So that's the first thing I want you to do. All right. So now that we changed that, you're going to have the ability to go around and click on different, all the different text that you see up here, right? So up here at the top left where it says over 5,000 students taught, I'm going to change that around because as I stated when we first began, over 28 years in public education, right? So this is the new, and this is fun. So that way you don't have to be worrying about, you know, where can I find the text? But what I want you to also see is when you click on any of the text, right? So again, I'm clicking out. Now I'm going to click on this text again. You're going to see this editor. This is the part where you get to change the font if you want, right? This is the place where you can change from regular if you want to make it larger or smaller. We also have, you know, text layout. We can change the color of it as well. So this is where we can go in and change the color, and then do all this other wonderful stuff. So adding shadow, adding shape, all that stuff. So the next thing I want to show you is I'm clicking on the gray, by the way. Every time I want to show you something, I'm clicking on the gray. So one thing that a lot of people enjoyed from the previous version was the fact that we can go and look at all the different elements through the stacks. So if you're looking up here at the top right, you are now capable of looking all the elements in the different stacks, right? So that's automatically here for you. So what I'm going to show you now is all the new cool stuff that you can now add to it. So at the top left, we have templates, right? We already are working on the templates, but if you needed other ideas for anything else, you can search. As you can see here, we have them by topics, or you can also filter them up here by style, mood, and type. As you can see, we have animated templates, multiple templates, and video templates, which is now brand spanking new, right? But where I'm going to go is I'm going to go not at media, not at text, because this graphic has it all. I'm going to go down here to where it says elements, because under elements, I want you to see the tabs up at the top. We have design assets. We have backgrounds that we can change. We have shapes. And look at this, we have icons. So once again, you know, one of the reasons that we love Adobe Express is the fact that we can add all these different elements. Your students don't have to go searching for all this stuff. Everything is filtered for K-12, which is amazing. So I'm going to give you an example. So down here where it says favorite foods, we see some ice cream here. We see some pizza. We see some, I believe, some rice or some noodles. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to design elements. I'm going to click on icons, and I'm going to type in tacos, because yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I made some great fish tacos for dinner, and I think I might make them again. They came out good, right? So yes, Mr. Chang, kids will love it. What I'm going to show you. So this is the teacher version. In a moment, this is a great way for you to introduce yourself to your students. In a moment, I'm going to show you a template that you can use with your students, right? But we're going to practice and play with this one a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a taco. You're going to see the taco is automatically embedded. And I want you to see how to move stuff around in Adobe Express. You click on the element. You're going to see these little white dots in the top corners. And then I'm just going to shrink them down, right? And then you see this little guy down here. It looks like a circle, like a half circle with an arrow going by. So this is where you can orient your objects wherever you want, or your design assets, right? And since I want to keep it with the same color scheme, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go to the top left where it says fill, and I am just going to choose the colors that we see here. So I'm going to go with the purple here, right? Or I could use any of these top colors that we see here. That is fine. But FYI, let's say, for example, if I wanted that taco to be the same color as Mina's shirt here, you can also use this color picker that we have at the top right. Click on that, scroll down to anything that's on there. So I'm going to click on her shoulder right here. When I click on it, bam, look, it now matches that. So anyways, another wonderful thing about Adobe Express is that, there's a lot of features that would have taken forever for us to teach in the traditional way, right? So Adobe Express is a tool that borrows a lot from the professional tools that we have here at Adobe, whether it's Photoshop, Illustrator, Animator, and coming soon, a variety of other ones, Premiere, as you'll see in a moment. But now what I want you to do is I want you to take the next few minutes to finish up your all the different components that you see here. So I want you to go through each and every one of these and change it to whatever whatever describes you. So over here, I already said my over 28 years in public education. Favorite subject was actually art, and I'm going to change this to art and music. I love music. When I was a kid, I was in the marching band. I was in the jazz band in high school. Loves reading books, but guess what? I also loves listening audiobooks. Yeah, that's my new job, especially when I heard that wonderful research that either listening to audiobooks or reading it analog, the traditional way, means the same for your brain. I was like, yes, because I have more opportunities to listen to audiobooks than to be sitting down and reading. So I love that. I'm going to go ahead and change the pronouns up here. When he isn't teaching, he is. I do like biking, but you know what else I love to do? Like I said before, I'm going to go to Elements, and I'm going to type in percussion. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do play a few instruments. Let's see. Oh, triangle, cowbell. Do they have cowbells? Everybody needs more cowbells. All right. They don't have, I'm looking for a traditional drum set, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and add this one. Here we go. I'm gonna grab it, put it in the corner, it up, change the color. Bam. All right. So and I'm just quickly looking at that as most of you are finishing up changing all the different elements in here. I have some good ones coming in. All right. Okay. So now we are, now that we are changing all this wonderful stuff up, the question still remains, Martin, on your best day, your hair does not look that great curly, right? Because this is still Mina, this is not me. So one of the wonderful things, of course, we can do with Adobe Express is we can click on any of the images here. And up next to the top left on the editor, you are going to see this replace component. So I'm going to click on replace here, and I can go in here and type in the word teacher, right? I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to type in teacher. As you can see here, there are a variety of different teachers. I'm going to choose this gentleman right here. Looks like a math or a science teacher holding a book. And one of the things I want you to see is when I click on this person, you are going to see that the picture automatically is injected into the template. And in a few seconds, you're going to be able to double click and look at this. We can now bring in that teacher. And the other wonderful thing, if you didn't notice, is the fact that it also took away the background, right? So now it eliminated the background and we can now use him. Now, I know what you're saying. You're like, Martina, on your best day, you still don't look that good with glasses on. Once again, because we grabbed this from directly from Adobe stock. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this the other cool thing is your students won't have to worry about it's like, oh, where am I going to get my images from? Because they are all from here. Right. That means that everything is built in. So we have one of the largest photo stocks in the world that now you and your students have access. And remember, once again, these are all K-12 filters. So all of these images are filtered for K-12. So what you can do also is I'm going to click on him again. And this time I'm going to hit replace as you can see at the top left. And this time around, I'm going to upload from my device because I do happen to have a picture of myself somewhere in this wonderful machine of mine. And let's see. Oh, here we go. So as you can see, there's a picture of me. There is a background. I'm going to click on open. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is where Adobe Sensei, which is our generative technology assistant in the background, is going to come and help. And in a few seconds, what you're going to see as well as you're going to see is going to remove the background. I can double click on my picture. And if I wanted to, of course, I can move this guy around however I like. So if I want to move him up, I can. There we go. Right about here, make him a little smaller so I can fit. There we go. All right. And I know what you're saying. You're like, Martin, well, that was easy because that was, mostly a black and white picture. But the reality, ladies and gentlemen, it really doesn't matter because I'm going to give you an example. I am going to bring in, I like calling my own personal kids model the year they were born. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm just dragging a photo from my desktop from my 2012 model, aka Mr. Caleb Cisneros here. This was back in the day when he was in 4th grade. So as you can see here, there's a lot of stuff going on in the woods. So all I have to do is click on his face, click on his picture, and then go to the top left where it says remove background. I'm going to click on remove background, and in a few short seconds, we are going to see it. Bam! Right. So now I can shrink him down, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen, he can now be a logo on my shirt. But ladies and gentlemen, it is still summertime, so I can move him over here to my arm. I'm going to orient him a little bit, and I'm going to use the opacity feature to bring him down. So sun's out, guns out. He can also be a tattoo on my arm, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. If you ever wanted sleeves, this is now your opportunity to get sleeves. So anyways, this is the fun that you can have. So there's a lot more, right? There's a lot more to it. We're going to get to it in a moment. But I want to make sure I'm going to look at the Q&A. I'm going to look at the chat to see if there's any questions that I can answer. All right. Here.
I think we've been keeping up. They've been going to rapid fire, keeping me working over here, Martine.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Asking really good questions, and they're helping each other out too. I guess there's something when people are logging in that they're seeing a screen that says not available on mobile yet. So just to clarify for everyone, you can still use regular Express, which was kind of built off of the old Adobe Spark. If you ever used the Spark tools, you can still use that on mobile. However, all these goodies that Martina is going to show you in this session, they'll be coming soon to mobile, and coming even sooner to like the Express that you access through your Clever application. So if students were to click into Clever today, it would take them to the quote unquote old Express. which, you know, is still fabulous, but it's not going to have all the goodies that Martine's giving you. But pretty soon, and we're counting down, pretty soon, you'll get all the goodies right within that Clever app. And then it's going to be available down the line for mobile too, which is exciting.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. So anyways, so this is the basics, right? So now we can, of course, insert, you know, different design assets. I'm going to give you an example. So up here, if I wanted to, I can type in the word idea, right? So if I type in the word idea, I get all these wonderful design assets, right? So I love these. And if I wanted to insert these, right, all I have to do is click on them and they automatically get inserted. Now, this looks a little weird since this is in the front of my head. So I'm going to show you really quick how you can play around with the different layers. So every time you add a new element, a new design asset, it's always going to be on top of everything else. So I want you to think about like back in the day when you were a kid and you used to create these collages, right? So as you're putting stuff on top, you're layering. So that's basically what we're doing here. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a skill set for all your students because as they get older and they start working with, of course, the professional creative products, that is a norm, right? So what they're doing is the more they use Adobe Express, the more skill sets they're learning in order how to use the tools that they're going to use in their professional career. So now that we added this element, right, what we can do is I can grab this element. I want you to see this. I'm going to just grab it from here from the top right. And I'm just going to move it all the way down until I see my picture. And I see my picture there, and I'm going to put it right underneath. As soon as I let it go right underneath, I want you to see this. You see how this is now behind me, right? I can now stretch it out if I want to, put it behind me, and look at that, ladies and gentlemen, right? That creates a pretty significant a different different me. So you see my brain is thinking of some ideas there. And as you're seeing here, right? So if there are elements, if you ever go into Adobe Express and you find a template and you can't get to, you know, say for example, you can't get to that brain behind there, all you have to do is on the right-hand side, look for the image or text or whatever element like the brain that you see here. I'm going to click on it. And when I do, you can now, of course, move it around or do whatever you need to do with that particular element. So that's the element component here. The other thing, right, is I always tell folks that when you are creating with students, you want to make sure that you build an environment where they can take the opportunity to take risks, right? Because that's what creativity is all about, is taking risk and trying to make meaning out of the world around you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this here as my template, right? I'm like, ooh, I'm liking some of the elements here, but I want to play with color. I want to add different stuff, but I don't want to do so much to it that in case I mess up, I want to go back here. So here's what I tell folks to do. Since this is the main one, up at the top where it says add title, I'm going to call this main identity, because this is one page in a project. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and I'm going to create a duplicate. So that way I can play around with the duplicate, or in other words, make a copy of this main page one. And the way you do that is up at the top right, you're now going to see a little icon that says add. So I'm going to click on where it says add at the top. And then I am just going to click on here where it says duplicate. So once again, I'm going to repeat that again. So I set this up. Maybe I want to make this a little bit smaller and put it right there. There we go. Now it looks good. So now I'm going to go up to the top right where it says add. And then I'm going to scroll down here to where it says duplicate. And when I click on duplicate, here's what you're going to see. I'm going to click on duplicate. And then it now made a duplicate of the original. How do I know this happened? First and foremost, up at the top, you're going to see a little icon that has the number of whichever page you're in. So right now I'm on page 2. And as you can see up here at the top, it says view all pages. So I'm going to click on that now. And when I click on it, you now see that I have two of these, a duplicate or a copy of that first one. So now I'm going to choose the second one because now I get to play. Now I get to do, add other elements. I'm going to change the background and maybe do some other fun things with it. So check this out, right? So if I wanted to change the background, right, I can click on the background, go over here to the left where it says Elements. So just so you can see where I'm at. Page 1, page 2. Click on Elements. Over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on Elements. And then I'm going to click on the second tab, which says Backgrounds, right? So now I can go in here and I can definitely change the backgrounds, right? This looks pretty slick. So the reality is you can add anything. So I'm going to type in the word spectrum because I love color, right? That one. That's really interesting. Try some other stuff. Oh, okay. Now we're talking. Yeah, buddy. Right. So we have the ability, and what I can do is if I like this one, I can say, okay, I'm going to create a duplicate. And I can then say, you know what? I'm going to change the background to this. I'm going to and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. And I'm like, ooh. So now I'm going to go back up here once again to view all pages. And now, as you can see, I have 3 different iterations of that particular project, right? So iteration, what else can we, play with? So if I go here, the next thing that I'm going to do is I want to take a look at the theme, right? So up at the top, all I did was I click on theme, and I want you to see that you can now change the theme of the whole component, right? So if you like bold, classic, professional, color pop, right? Modern, retro, but that's one way of looking at it. And then of course, at the top right here, you can click on view all so you can see all the different iterations from it. But at the same time, you can also do the following. You can go here where it says search color themes, and you can also search by moods. For example, this is my introduction for me as an educator to my students. So I want to make sure that this is fun. So up at the top left, what I'm going to do is on the search bar, I'm going to type in the word fun. Click on fun. And what you see now, you now see a variety of different color palettes, right? So, ooh, look at that. So I'm digging this one. So now I can come in here, choose, any of the elements. And as soon as I do that, you now see the page theme up here at the top, right? So I love this. I love that we can now come up here, change the theme, change the color, this one. And this is where students really get to have fun, right? Is working with all these different elements, making sure they pop a little bit more, right? I love that. Look at that. So I'm going to change the pizza here so it can pop out a little bit more, maybe change it to yellow or something within its range. Look at that. All right. So yes, so the whole thing about, iterating is you want to make sure that your students know that it's okay to play with ideas. It's okay to play with the theme, right? But it gets even better. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back up here so you can see all the 3 different elements. I'm going to choose this third one. What I'm going to do is, once again, I am going to now go up to the top. And I'm going to duplicate it, right? Because what am I going to change? I'm going to do a few other things. For example, right? We have been able to look at templates, been able to insert different photos, but now I'm going to show you something that you can also do with text, right? So with text, we already have, of course, regular text. You can click on this top button up here, the big blue one where it says add your text. So if you wanted to add more elements, you can. But you can also say, hey, Martin, can we do some animation? Because this is great, right? Change the background, add some different elements. Can we animate this? And the answer is yes. So check this out. So I'm going to click on my head here, right? And it selects my image. And every time you select anything inside of Adobe Express, any of these elements, you can now go here on the editor. And right now I'm on the image editor only because I clicked on my head here, which is an image, and then this pops up. So I always go down here to the very last section where it says animation. So I'm going to click on animation, and you now have the ability to animate this static graphic. For example, you can animate stuff coming in. You can do stuff that's looping, meaning it'll just continue to do the same thing over and over again for the duration of your graphic, or you can make stuff bounce out. But because this is my picture, I'm introducing myself. So I'm going to go with N. And then right here's what you get to play, right? So if you just hover over, you see live the examples of what will happen. So I really like the grow, the flicker, there's the fade, there's pop, rise, shrink, and as you can see, the others. So I am going to go with grow because I think that looks pretty slick. And look what happens as soon as I do that. As soon as I click on animation, now it turns it into a movie. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You saw that right from the get-go, right? So now it's like, what? It made a movie animation of that one by just adding that one animation in. So now I'm going to show you really quick that transition, right? So where did the other stuff go? I'm just going to rewind back. We have now 4 iterations of the same template that we started off with. This was the one that we call master. This was the second iteration with a different background. We settled on this multicolored background. And what happened with number 4 is as soon as I animated anything in this last one, it turned it into a movie that we can now build upon. So this is where the fun begins, ladies and gentlemen. So now all I ended up doing was I clicked on my picture. I went to animation, right? And I clicked grow in at the very beginning. And up here, you can, of course, decide how long it takes. As you can see, the preview there. And then down here, this is now where you can start adding different elements to create a movie. For example, right? I'm going to go down here and down here, it shows me it's 5 seconds long. I know it's hard to see, but the bottom left corner, it's going to tell you how many seconds you have. Now, for me, I'm going to shorten this up because knowing how things are filmed today, most, back in the day when I was growing up, ladies and gentlemen, that was the late 70s and 80s. When you would watch films back in the day, the transitions, meaning how they would change the movie camera to see one scene into another, usually was around 6 to 8 seconds. That doesn't happen anymore. Today is anywhere between 1 to 2 seconds, right? Is 1 to 2 seconds, they're always changing the camera view. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down, and all I'm doing is as I hover over at the end of the scene here, I'm going to click on those 2 little lines, and then I'm just going to drag it. As I'm dragging it, you're going to see at the top, there's a little black box that tells you how many seconds you're shortening it into. So I'm going to shorten this to about 2 seconds. There's my 2 seconds, and I'm just going to hit play. All right. So here's the beginning of it, right? And I'm like, okay, great. But now I want the other elements to move. So I want you to see this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over these 3 little dots that you see here. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on duplicate. And all it's going to do is going to duplicate that very first scene that I created. But now I want you to see this. Now I'm going to click on this other text, and I'm going to play with these. So I'm going to click on the text. I'm going to go to animation, and I'm going to loop this one. Click on that. Text, click animation, hit loop, and you're going to see that each one of them is going to have a different animation. And all I'm doing is I'm doing the same thing as I'm clicking on the text, scrolling down to the left-hand navigation, click on animation, click on looping, select one that I enjoy, and then I move on to the next one. So clicking on the text, click on animation, looping, two more. I'm going to do that text, scroll down to animation, click on looping, and I'm going to wiggle that one. Last but not least, I'm going to click on my name, which is text, click on the animation, looping, and I'm going to have that pull. So what does this all look like when you put it all together? I'm going to now grab this little scrubber that you see here on top. You just grab it and move it to the beginning, or you move it anywhere in your movie timeline, and then you click play. Right? So you saw that. So we can build on that. So we're not going to build on it now because I want to make sure I have time to look at the chat to see if there were any questions that I missed, or because I know Lindsay is doing a really great job at answering a lot of these questions. So one of the questions that I'm seeing here, you're like a genie, Lindsay. I just say your name.
You say my name 3 times and I appear. I'm going off camera because you see my face when I'm all focused.
All good, all good.
Let's see.
So yeah, question.
We're pretty up to speed. The professional development question, I know, Martine, you alluded to it, but like we're right here with you all. Do not think that we're like releasing you out and we're like, well, hope you have a good school year. Like you're going to see a lot of us. Yeah.
Yes. So I see a question from Samantha. Can we give our students a copy of the template or infographic via Google Classroom and make each of them their own copy? Yes.
Just enable the Google Classroom add-on for SFUSD.
Oh, did that happen already?
It happened. So
yes. So the answer is yes. So that's already there. And then so yes, on all the templates, you can definitely do that on your learning management system, which I know a lot of you are using Classroom. So yay for that. Okay, so Pete got that. All right, we're good. So now I'm going to show you something that's also really slick, right? So in here, we have, of course, so I'm going to show you a few things, right? So we're now in the movie making. So we went from taking a static image to creating a little film. So when I move this towards the end, right? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my voice. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my voice. So here's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top left where it says media. And then I'm going to go to the tabs where it says photos, video, and audio. I'm going to click on audio. Under the audio component, what I'm going to do is, first of all, if you have music, if you have recordings from a different program, you can upload them here. That's number one. So I'm going to make sure that you understand that. But that button right below that gray button that we see here, this is now the record voiceover. So you have the ability to use your computer's microphone to do this. So great question, Amy. This is free 99, ladies and gentlemen. You guys get Adobe Express is free, and it is connected to your Clever. Now, I know I'll show that login information, but yes, that's where your students can get into Adobe Express. So yeah. So all goodness. All right. So now what I'm going to show everybody is, once again, I grab my little scrubber over here, my video scrubber is what I call it. I don't know if it's the real thing, but I'm going to go all the way to the left and I'm going to click on record voiceover. And as you see here, if you do have multiple microphones, you can select your multiple microphones here like I have. If not, it'll just default to whatever computer you're using. But all I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit record and start recording, and then I'm going to show you how to edit. Check this out. 3. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new school year. Okay, now you see this blue line at the bottom. This is now my voiceover. So I'm going to go back so we can hear it. Hit play now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new school year. As you can see that my voiceover already went a little bit longer than my video. So I want you to see how easy it is to edit and align things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this the first scene. I'm going to grab the ending. As you see, I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but there's these two little white lines. So I'm going to click and drag it all the way until I see the end of that blue. So now if I play it back, I'm going to wait a little bit too far, right about there. Now, if I drag this back and hit play. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new school year. Okay. Now, right, I can now come over here. I'm going to start here. I'm going to hit the start recording voice. My name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Once again, see how the voiceover went over my image here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the end of that image and drag it until it hits that blue line. All right. So now I'm going to play it from the start. Scrubber, click on play. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new school year. My name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Now, I'm not going to get into all the weeds, but for those of you who are a little bit more advanced, I'm going to show you something. Down here at the bottom, you see a button that says show layer timing. So if I click on that, you're going to see that you can add other elements. But before we even do that, I'm going to click on this blue line that has my audio, right? So if I go back here and just hit play from here, my name is, I can see that my voice starts around here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to shorten it to there. I'm going to do the same thing with the video. I'm just going to bring it over to where that is. Over. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just syncing my audio with my video at the same time. So your students will be able to edit this on the fly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new school year. My name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Now, so what you've seen so far is we can, of course, add, we can add text, we can add digital elements, we can add pictures, we can now add voice. So we're going to take it a step further. What I'm going to do is I am going to click on this second scene here. Once again, I'm going to go to the three little dots. I'm going to go up to where it says duplicate. I want to duplicate that scene. But this time around, I want you to see something that's pretty slick. I'm going to go up here to where the background is, and I am going to delete that background, right? The reason why I'm going to delete it is because I want to insert video in video. That's right. You heard correctly. I'm going to insert video in video, and I'm going to show you what I mean, because the first thing I'm going to talk about my favorite foods, right? So instead of just talking about it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to media, I'm going to go to video, and I'm going to see if we have videos of tacos. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we do. Right? So what I'm going to do is, now the fun part, right, is I'm going to click on this video of tacos, and I want you to see how this plays out. So now I'm just going to stretch this out all the way through until we get those right in the middle. Are those tacos or are those nachos? Anyway, you can go back. But now that you see that, what I'm going to do is just like we did with the images, I'm going to grab that video and I'm going to drag it all the way down to the very, very bottom. So it becomes our background in a way. I want you to see this, right? So now when I play this part, you're now seeing the taco video in the background. What? So once again, I'm going to go back here and I am just going to go to audio and I'm going to record my voiceover about one of my favorite foods. This definitely nachos. Yes, Lindsay, thank you. So I'm going to click on the record voiceover. Go on 3, 2, 1. I love many foods, but my favorite have to be fish tacos. So anyways, as you see here, and all I would do once again is just stretch that out. I'm going to go back, hit the play button. I love many foods, but my favorite have to be fish tacos. Okay, I didn't like the way that sounded, so I'm going to click on the blue, and if you don't like it, just click on it, hit delete, and record it again. Right? That's how easy it is. So I'm going to go back to the audio here, hit record. I love many foods, but one of my favorite foods are fish tacos. So now I think that sounded really good. So I'm going to hit play button here. I love many foods, but one of my favorite foods are fish tacos. Perfect. Now I just grab the end and bring it down. So that's what I would continue to do with the other elements, right? Talk about my 28 years in public education, what my favorite subject was, why I love listening to audiobooks, when I'm not teaching, what else am I doing? So all this stuff, right? These are all things you can do, but I'm going to continue to add. And for those of you who did ask, hey, can we definitely do this? With students, the answer is yes, but I'm going to show you a few more things because we are talking about video. So I'm going to rewind back all the way to the very beginning. I'm going to pretend that I already finished my video. And you see how these things are getting longer and longer. Down here at the bottom, you have the ability to shorten your viewer so you can see your full movie at one time. What I'm going to do next, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and click on media. This time around is I am going to click away from the audio. On media, I'm going to click on search because now look at this. I'm now going to choose some background music. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. We have acoustic, we have background. Some blues. Kind of like that one. Like the classical, right? But anyways, there's a lot of stuff. Hit it. All right. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to hit, and all I have to do is click on happy and smiley or whatever the title track is as I'm doing here. I'm going to click on that. Right. And now what you see here is you're now seeing all the different layers. You now have the background layer. You now have my audio layers that you see down here. So I'm going to hit play to see what it sounds like now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the news. Off the bat, I know that the background music is too loud. So here's what you do. Click on the background music and you're going to see the editor at the top left. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrub that all the way down, maybe to about a 45%. Yeah, we'll do a 45. Let's see what that sounds like now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a little bit too loud, so I'm going to bring it down to about 25% on the background music. And now I'm going to hit play. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new school year. My name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you, at least on my end, this sounds pretty good. I don't know what it sounds like on your computers, but I'm just letting you know on this end, it sounds pretty good, right? And this is the other wonderful thing about Adobe Express. Your students are now capable of adding not only pictures, but video and audio from either their voice, background music, or if they play a musical instrument, they can upload that onto their video as well. And just like what we did with the voiceover, we are going to click on that music track on the background, click on the very end of it. You'll see this 2 straight little white lines. And I'm going to click and drag until the very ending of that scene. Great question from Adriana. The question is, can you also lower the volume on the voice? The answer is yes. So for example, if I click on this bottom one, which was my last voiceover, I'm going to click on it. You're going to see that at the top left, you can lower the volume or make it louder as well. What do y'all think? Yay? Look at all those hands. Oh my gosh, put those hands down. I can't see you, so no. But we see there is a question. Let's see who had that question up. Let me see. Miss it. Okay. If you have a question, please put it on the chat. Let's see. All right. Cool. All right. So now, right, this movie is coming out pretty good, but what if we want to change this around? So I saw, you already saw me bring in that picture. So what I'm going to do, once again, I'm going to go back up here to where it says view all pages. Look at this. We have our original. We have our second iteration, our third iteration, and then our movie. So great question. How can we share? We're going to get to that in a moment. Let me just finish this and then I'll answer that question. Because what I do want to show you is the following, right? So I'm going to click on the second one here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a duplicate of this one. But once again, going up to the top on duplicate. And now I have a duplicate. This time around, I am going to delete myself. I'm going to tell you why in a moment. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this image. I'm going to download it to my computer because I'm going to do something very fun with it. Because once again, it's all about giving your students different opportunities to make meaning whatever they're learning in your classroom, right? So here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go back home by clicking at the top left at the Adobe logo. When I click on it, I am now sent back home to the Express homepage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to get really fun. I'm going to go down here where it says suggested quick actions. You see that little blue character. I'm going to click on it. And ladies and gentlemen, this is now the new animate from audio. We can now take a character. We can record a voiceover, and Adobe Express will automatically. I'm just going to see what Joanna's going to do for automatically. Love it. Okay, because that's just a word I made up, but I love it. So what I'm going to do now is you can go in here. You can choose to be a baseball. You can be a goat. I mean, who did not want to be a hot dog as a kid, right? You can be Gareth. You can be Cassidy. You can be a variety of different awesome things, from the love emoji to a bucket of popcorn to, being Stardust. So I'm going to choose Stardust here. And then at the top right, you can click on background. So we can put Stardust in a baseball diamond and in some Spring Hills. We can put them in the park. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you something that's pretty cool. You saw that I had downloaded my last image, right? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on upload image. And I'm going to go to my downloads. And I'm going to upload that graphic. What? Because look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another way of me story. Instead of me adding a picture, because some of our students do not like to take pictures, our students do not like to take video of themselves. You have this option now. They can become a cartoon character, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit record down here at the bottom, right? I'm going to hit record. and I'm the voiceover. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My favorite foods are, of course, pizza and fish tacos. Over 28 years in public education, my favorite subject was art and music. I love listening to audiobooks when I'm not teaching. I'm either riding bikes or playing on my drum set. My biggest success in teaching was, of course, creating digital packets for English learners. I'm excited to learn about how to use generative technology in education, and I cannot wait to work with you. So I hit done, and this is what's going to happen now. Before, they used to take a very powerful computer to do this. That's no longer needed. Your students can now do this in a Chromebook, in pretty much any web-enabled device. And I say that because if they can get to this web page, they can probably edit. But what's happening is it recorded my voice, and it's now uploading my voice to the Adobe cloud servers. And it is now lip syncing my voice to the character that I chose, which happens to be that cute little unicorn Stardust that you're seeing here. And you see that at the very top of my page, you're seeing that it's exporting, it's doing its work. But I want you to start thinking as this thing is compiling itself. What do you want to know about your students? What do you want them to explain to you? This is going to be so amazing. If you have multilingual learners in your classroom, oh my goodness, right? They don't like being on video, but if they can be something else, they're going to love this. The fact that they can record over and over again until they get it right is going to be amazing, right? The fact that they can become a cartoon character and explain different things to you instead of just writing about it like most of us did. I'm not saying that writing is bad, but it shouldn't be the only thing the way we assess our students, right? And as you're seeing here, depending on the length of this wonderful a video that you recorded, we're now seeing that's wrapping up and it's ready to play. Check this out. I'm going to hit the play button in the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My favorite foods are, of course, pizza and fish tacos. Over 28 years in public education, my favorite subject was art and music. I love listening to audiobooks when I'm not teaching. I'm either riding bikes or playing on my drum set. My biggest success in teaching was, of course, creating digital packets for English learners. I'm excited to learn about how to use generative technology in education, and I cannot wait to work with you. Oh, it was a 32-second video, right? Instead of me writing this down that would take me forever, I get 30 seconds to tell you a little bit about myself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be, this is going to change so many things, because here's what we can do, right? What we can do is we can download this right now, which is what I'm doing. I'm downloading the video, or we can do the following. I'm going to open this in the Adobe Express editor by clicking on open an editor. Now look at this. Just like we did with the other one, we can now add elements, right? And I'm going to show you what I mean. So if I hit play, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My favorite, see how loud I am? So I'm going to click here, and then what I can do is I am going to lower down the volume so I'm not as loud. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Cisneros. At 62%, I'm still loud, so I'm going to lower it even more. But you get where I'm going with this, right? You can, of course, come in here until. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My favorite. Now I'm too quiet. So anyways, you play with this. You play with this until you get there. But here's the other wonderful thing, right? So once again, we created the template, we downloaded it, and we upload it to the Animate from Audio. But we can also do the reverse, ladies and gentlemen. You now have the ability to take any video, and check this out. I'm going to click on this video. And then at the top left, there is a huge button that says Remove Background. Just like we did it with photos, we can now remove the background on a video. Check this out. So I'm clicking on the background remover. I want to see what it does because this is a cartoon. I've never done this before. So we'll see what happens. But I love the fact that we are now capable of creating different characters, giving them voice. And now our students are capable of creating different types of stories to show you what they know, right? This is going to be amazing as we continue to do this. I'm going to let this run. I'll come back to it because I'm going to show you. There we go. Okay. So it did decently. There's a few things that I wish it would have taken out, but as you see here, I'm going to hit play. Of course, pizza and fish tacos. So what I would have done, I could do this as well. I can go ahead and double click that so I can crop it. Not the best thing, but I'll show you multiple ways. So I can do that. And what you can do now, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My favorite foods are, of course, pizza. So now I can go to media. I can type in pizza. I can now add this to my video. I can put that in the back. Grab the pizza and put it in the back. And once again, let's show the layers here. Books, when I'm not teaching, I'm either there we go. So I put them on top, and all I did was on the right-hand side, I just grabbed them and put them on top. So as we're playing with this, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My favorite foods are, of course, pizza. It's right there where it said pizza, right? What I'm going to do is grab that component. There we go. And I can move it back over here to where it starts saying pizza. So whatever I'm talking about, what I'm trying to explain, whatever I'm talking about, you can now have playing in the background as they're explaining it, right? I did this with Animate from Audio, but if your kids want to, they can record themselves and they can add themselves in top of their explainer video. So these are just a few elements about what we're, once again, I'm going to go back here, home to Adobe Express. I'm going to go to where it says my stuff or your stuff. And then what you're going to see here, you're going to see all the different goodies that we've been playing with, right? So I'm going to go back to this identity graphic, which is the first thing that we started to play with. And on here, on this identity graphic, right, I'm going to click at the top. I'm going to go back to this first. So I'm going to leave these up here, right? So these are the 4 iterations. And then, of course, we had our movie one at the very end. How do you share this? How do students turn this in for work? So as we already found out that this is going to be integrated with your Google Classroom, that's one way. But if they're working on other things, here's how they can share their work. Number 1, you can go to the top right where it says download. See a button there at the top right of your screen. You're going to click on where it says download, and then it's going to ask you, Martin, do you want to just download this selected page, right? So I can select this page. That's the second one. I'm going to click on download. Do you want to select the second page? Or do you want to download all pages? Now, depending on what the students are working for. So they have the ability to download all their projects at one time, but let's just say if they just want to download their favorite one, which might be number 4 here, just click on download, and then it would give them a file format. The file formats are PNG, JPEG, and PDF. Really quick, PNG are best for images. JPEG are also an image file, but they're more universal, which means you can use them on other products. If you know this is something that you're going to print, please click on PDF, because what Adobe Sensei will do, Adobe Sensei, once again, is our generative technology that works on the back end. It will automatically make a better image for you to print. So it comes out a lot better. So Adobe Sensei is always working to make sure that it gives you the best product, right? But for most of the time, I always tell people download this as a PNG. So I'm going to download this one, click download. So that's one way of doing it. The other thing I do want to mention when you're downloading, if say, for example, you click on this one, which is the one with the animation and the movie. If you click download on that one, it's going to say, Martin, we are going to download this as an MP4 file format, which means it's going to download as a movie, right? Now, so those are two. And then, oh, here's the other amazing thing about video now in Adobe Express. Before, it would just download it at a certain same quality, no matter what you built. Now, I want you to see this. Now that we know that this is a movie, if you click on video resolution, look at this, ladies and gentlemen, you can download this as 4K. Yes, that means, like say, for example, Denise here, I can take a picture of Denise and we can download it in 4K and we can zoom into Denise's head and see how she's thinking and making all these wonderful hand movements from, of course, the verbiage that I'm coming out. So I love the fact that we can now produce for other things, right? So we can download in 4K, we can download on the high end of 1080p, but if you're using it for regular stuff, you know, it's still high definition, but it's on 720. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Once again, this is really, really amazing. Another way that your students can share their work after they're done or for iteration is they can now come up here to click on share and they can invite collaborators. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. What does that say? Google Classroom, right? So yes, that's another way that they can turn in their work, or they can publish to the web. Yes. So on here, they will, you're going to see a publish link. There we'll click on the publish link. And in a few moments, down here at the bottom, it says publishing your design. So that's what it's doing. It's publishing my design. And in a few seconds, it's going to give me a link. So that way I can publish my link or my image or my digital asset to whomever. This is all going to come into a play in a little bit. I'm going to show you why. Because one of the last things I'm going to show you, I'm going to sure I do this before. I'm going to hit share. And still publishing my design. All right, we'll come back to this. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave this running open. I'm going to go back to Adobe Express Beta. Because one of the last thing is, how do we wrap this together, right? We are now talking about creating images, infographics, animations to infographics. We can now create video. We can now create animation. We can create all this wonderful stuff. But how do we wrap it all together, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to show you next. Last thing I'm going to do is go down here. We're now at home in Adobe Express. And now we're going to go down here where it says web page. So we're going to click on web page where it says create from scratch. I'm going to click on that. And the first thing it's going to ask for a title. Guess what? I'm going to put my first name and my last name there. Subtitle, I'm going to call this my learning portfolio. Once again, title is first name and last name. Second is subtitle is learning portfolio. Okay. Now at the bottom, the way you add stuff to the web page component to the portfolio is down at the bottom. You're going to see a plus sign. You're going to click on that plus sign, and I want you to click at the top left where it says photo. Again, you're going to go down to the bottom. You click on the white plus sign, and then you're going to go to the top left where it says photo. You're going to click on photo, and now I want you to search for something that represents you. So on here, I'm going to type in, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to type in the word idea. I'm going to get a bunch of photos of ideas. I'm going to choose something. Kind of like this. Once you select the photo, you now have your header. You have your first name and last name. Your subtitle is Learning Portfolio. And now, of course, you have a header. You have the picture. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Adobe stock. So your stuff is going to look good at all times. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to scroll down, and you're going to get these 7 different iterations of what else to add. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Split Layout. Show you that again. I started here. I'm going to scroll down. You click on the plus sign, and it's the one to your, it's the last one, the one to your very right. You're going to see an icon that says Split Layout. Once you do that, you will get this. Now, on the left-hand side where it says image, you just click on it where it says add image. Adobe stock is going to pop up. So this is, of course, the place where you can search for something that is meaningful to you, or you can go up to the top left where it says upload from device, and you can upload a picture of yourself. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose one that I know I already have. Choose that one, and bam, right? So now I have a picture of myself on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, what I want you to do is I want you to click on text, and I want you to write 2 to 3 sentences that introduces you, the world. So for example,
And Martine, while you're writing your text, I'm going to jump in with something I got in the Q&A earlier. If for any reason, like the pace is really fast, I know there's a lot of things coming at you because we want you to be aware of all the goodies. Don't worry, you can still get your Adobe Creative Educator Level 1 certification here with us. We trust in you as professionals that you've been following along. I would say try to focus on completing like at least 1 artifact today. Amazing if you're able to keep up, you know, with all the things, but otherwise just really feel that assurance. Like we trust you as professionals. We know that you're following along and engaging, and Martine's going to show you all how to get your certification because afternoon workshop, Martine, I have to say, this is the only afternoon workshop I've ever been in where the attendance goes up during the workshop. Like, so we know you're all sticking with us. It's great.
yeah, no, definitely. And I'm literally like a kid every time. It's like, I love Adobe Express for all the different things. So every time I do this, it's like, oh, and then we can add this. Oh, and so I, you know, like you guys, right? When you get excited about your topic, it's like, breathe, Martin, breathe. So once again, you know, what we ended up doing was we clicked on create a web page. This popped up. For the title, we put our first name and last name. For the subtitle, we put Learning Portfolio. At the bottom, we clicked on picture, and then we got to search for a picture for something that represents us as an educator. I happened to type in the word idea. I like this picture, and I selected it, and it pops up. Then I scroll down, and this is for all of the rest of the web page. All you do is scroll down, click on the white plus button, or the gray plus button, I should say, and 7 different components will always pop up. What we next was we clicked on split layout, and when we did so, this popped up. On the left-hand side, you will get a button that says to insert a picture. You can insert a picture of something that represents you, or if you'd like, you can upload a picture that you have of yourself. On the right-hand side, you're going to go ahead and write 2 or 3 sentences that introduces you to the world. Now, this is where the portfolio part comes in, the learning portfolio, because what did we did today? I'm going to tell you what we did. I'm going to click on photo, and I'm going to click on upload from device, because today, oh, did I even do it? Did I? Oh, I do. Oh, I did not. Okay. I'm going to go back to my identity graphic, which is this one. I am going to download it. Now that it's downloaded, I'm going to go back here, which is my portfolio. I'm going to scroll down, click on the white plus button to the very far left where it says photo. I'm now going to upload my graphic that I just downloaded. And now, yeah, look at that, right? Now it's coming together. Now it's like, ooh, we have our graphic here. What else did we do? I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to show you. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back. Oh, that's my timer says that we got to wrap up in a moment. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go and I'm going to go to my video over here. Click share, publish to the web. I'm going to update I'm going to copy this. I don't know if you guys can see this, but once we share, we get to copy a share publish link. Click on copy. And once I get this link, I'm going to go back to my portfolio. Once again, I'm going to go all the way down. And once I get all the way down, I'm going to on that gray plus sign at the bottom. And this time I'm going to select video. I'm going to click on video. And when I do that, I am going to paste what? I'm going to paste the URL from the video that I created. Now I'm going to click save. And it's not finished. It's not finished cooking. That's why it didn't allow me. But I'm going to give you an example, right? Let's just say I went to, you know, if you happen to have a video, I'm going to go. I know what. Channel here. So maybe there's a video that I want. I'm going to grab the URL. So it could be any YouTube video. It can be, of course, any Adobe video that you created. I just going to, I'm not video. There we go. Okay. So every time you click on the gray button and you click on video, as you see here, it will allow you to embed a video from YouTube, Vimeo, or something that you created in Adobe Express, either one, right? But I wanted to show you this because now this is our learning portfolio. This is what we have, you know, coming together. Now I'm going to go up here and hit play. So now you can see what the whole thing looks like put together. So now we, of course, have our header with our name, our subtitle, which is Learning Portfolio, and look what happens as I scroll down, right? These are put together, no coding involved, right? So for students, this is a great way to showcase what they have learned in your classroom throughout the year. So I have to stop there, ladies and gentlemen, but here's what I will tell you. You would treat this like everything else, right? And what I mean by that is how do you publish this? You go to the top right, you click on the share button, and then you click on publish to the web, give it a name. So I'm gonna call this MC Portfolio, and then create link. And then of course, what it'll do is it'll go through its full component, and then it'll publish. So Ariel, thank you for sharing yours, but you now have, of course, these published. And every time your students add to it, all they have to do in order to update it on the other end is click share and then click on, so let's say, for example, if I added something else, I'm gonna add a button, press.com. Try that again. Edit the button, press www.press.com. You can add buttons, you can add all. So every time you're adding new stuff, you would go back to the top right, click share, and click on publish changes. So Now that you have learned quite a bit, how do you get your badge? How do you get all that wonderful stuff? Yes. So we are going to fast forward to that. So I can make sure you get all your wonderful stuff. And what you're going to do is I am going to give you a right now. That's going to go up to the chat. And I want you to click on that link. Active side. I'm adding this to, there we go, where it says badge on the webinar. I'm going to take you through step by step. All right, so you're going to click on that, and the first thing you're going to do on the right-hand side, you're going to see a big blue button that says Enroll Now. So you're going to click on Enroll Now. And then what you're going to do is you are going to click here where it says Launching Adobe Express. You're going to click on that. It's going to take you here. And what you're going to do is you're just going to go down to the right bottom hand side where it says next, because you already went through this process. This is what you've been doing with me for the past hour and a half. So you're going to click on next. And then right here where it says assignment, here's what you're going to do. At the very top where it says title, you are going to add your first name and your last name. Down here on description, just what you can write is ACE level 1 SFD Digital District Date, and you can write today's date 8/9/3. And then I will give you time, ladies and gentlemen, whether you just want to turn in your graphic or your video or whatever that is what you're going to put here where it says learning journal URL. So I'm going to give you an example. So if you were able to create a page, all you had to do is click share, click publish to the web, and you're going to get this share publish link. All you're going to do is click on copy, and you can do this with your video. You can do this, of course, with your infographic as well. And then that is what you post here. After that, you're going to click on update or submit. And then after you do that, all you do is click on the next button down here at the bottom right. And you're going to see confetti come on down, meaning that, of course, you are now on here. Now, if you're like, Martin, that's a lot of steps, don't you worry about that, because guess what? I have those steps for you. Here, I'll make sure that you all have this, right? So you have all this different information on here. This video has been recorded, so you can, of course, go back and watch the steps to go through again. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stick around. But before we do that, I want to make sure that we are listening to you. So if you can please do me a favor and click on our survey for today's session. I gave you the link down there. There's so much to learn, and I'm so glad that Adobe has a partnership with SFUSD, because this is not the last time we're going to see each other, ladies and gentlemen. We will see each other not only virtually, but also in person. And all I can tell you is if you enjoyed today, you're like, oh, there's so much more to do. Oh, my goodness. We have so much good stuff coming to you. Your kids are going to love you for giving them the opportunity to be creative in their learning and teachings in your classroom. Lindsay, you want to add anything else to this wonderful component?
Just so much gratitude for you all joining us and learning today. I'm wondering, announce yourself in the chat if you came to all 3 sessions today, if you went to all 3 Adobe. I think we might have had a few that did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, again, we'll be sharing through Oasis. We'll be sharing through the digital learning team, who communicates things out to your schools, and just all the opportunities that we're going to provide This was recorded, so you can go back and watch any of it. And like Martine said, we can hang for a minute, you know, if there's some more questions, but I know we got the warning that people are moving on to their next. So just thank you all, deep gratitude. We can't wait to partner with you.
And of course, if you want to connect with us, we're online at Adobe for EDU. Personally, I am known as the Tech Profe on all the socials, including the new ones. And of course, listen to all the great stuff that we have coming out at the hashtag Adobe Edu Creative. With that, ladies and gentlemen, have a great one. Thank you for joining us for your level 1, and we cannot wait to see what you and your students create. Have a great one.
Thank you. Okay, for those still asking questions, Monica, we don't share the link to the deck directly. We're not able to do that, but let's get you the participant resources, since those have everything that you need. So I'm going to grab that link again, unless you have